Welcome guys, so today I want to show you guys how you can install Jupyter Notebooks for your machine. So if you want to start learning a code, you want to start learning how to program, especially in language like Python, you need to learn how to use Jupyter Notebooks. Jupyter Notebooks is a very popular application. It's a web-based application. It's used by a lot of university students, used by a lot of colleges, and it's still used in the professional workplace, including big companies like JP Morgan and big banks. So today I'll show you how you can install Jupyter Notebook from scratch, and I'll also show you how you can set up Jupyter Notebook so you can start writing and adding lines of code and start adding markup text as well. So without further ado, let's make a start. Right guys, so to install Jupyter Notebook, firstly search for Anaconda. Anaconda is the package manager for Jupyter Notebook. Click on anaconda.com. You'll be presented with a download button on the homepage, and you've got two installation options, or three, one for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Choose the appropriate option for your machine. Windows for myself. I've gone ahead and downloaded this file. The installation file is about 600 MB. It's not a small file, so it may take a few minutes. Once you've downloaded the file, you'll find a .exe installer located in your downloads folder or wherever you chose to download the file. As you can see, it's 636 MB. You want to double click the executable to begin the setup. Then you'll be presented with a setup window. It looks like this. You want to click next. Agree to the terms and conditions. Click I agree. You don't need to scroll down. Then you want to select either just me or all users. So for myself, I'm just selecting just me. And then you want to find the destination folder on your machine. So by default, it's put me under the C drive, users, myself, Anaconda 3. You need about 3.7 GB of data. Obviously, I've got enough space. Make sure you've got enough space on your machine. This is a 64-bit application, so it will consume a bit of memory, but rest assured it's needed to deliver good performance. So if you click next, it'll then offer you two more advanced options here. So you've got two options here. I would select the bottom option, register Anaconda 3 as your default Python 3.9. It just ensures that you can pick up Python 3.9 any of these applications. You've got PyCharm, Wing IDE, PyDev, and various other packages in here. Click install. Let that do its magic. Give it a few moments. Right, when that is done, you want to click next. And you're good to go. So you want to click next after this. You can follow the instructions here if you want to see a bit more of an instructional overview. And then finally, you can kickstart the distribution tutorial or getting started with Anaconda. Up to you, but I would recommend getting started with Anaconda. Otherwise, if you're confident like me, just click finish. Right, and then you're good to go. Next steps to load up Jupyter. We now need to open up Anaconda. So search for Anaconda. It'll boot up and give you Anaconda Navigator as an option. So when that starts, so this is what you'll see when you finally open up Anaconda Navigator. So you'll see that Anaconda Navigator, as I mentioned before, is a package manager for a number of different software applications. So in here, I'll just give you a quick overview. You've got RStudio, which is a popular app for developing R code. PyCharm, which is a very popular IDE, integrated development environment for Python and various other coding languages. Jupyter Lab, I'll come on to that later. VS Code, which is really popular. Spider, another Python application or IDE. PyCharm Community Edition, various other apps. IBM Watson Cloud's in here as well. But really the one that we want is this one right here called Jupyter Notebook. You want to click launch. That will then launch up a instance in your web browser. And then what you want to do is click new and click Python 3. So by default, it will be saving all your scripts in IPYNB files, and it'll be dumped in this folder here. You can get to this folder if you follow this path really. It'll be on your local machine somewhere. You want to then click on new and Python 3, and that will then begin an instance of Jupyter Notebook on your machine within your browser. So guys, you're good to go in terms of installation of Jupyter Notebook. If you want to learn how Jupyter Notebook works, I'll give you a quick overview if you've got 2 more minutes. So the way a Jupyter Notebook works is that you create your code and you develop your code in cells, and these cells cascade downwards. So you might write, this is a line of code. You hit enter, it'll give you another line, and this is a line of code. But what if you want a new cell of code? So what you do, if it's green, it means you're highlighted within the cell. If you press escape, you then jump out the cell, and that's when you can add another line, another cell within your browser. So you click cell, you click insert cell below. As you can see, you've got a shortcut key which is B. So if it's blue, you press B, and that adds another line, a cell or line, if you like, another line or block underneath your current cell. If you want a cell above your existing highlighted cell, you press A, and now you've got 2 blocks. So essentially you can keep pressing B, 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 and add loads of lines of code, and you can type different lines of code across each cell. And that's how it works. If you want to delete a cell, you make sure you press escape, it'll go blue, and then press D twice. That will delete your current cell, your current highlighted cell. As you can see, this is my current highlighted cell. So if you keep pressing D twice, it'll delete all these cells that you've got selected. If it's green, it'll just type D. If you press D twice, you'll just see D twice. So you want to press escape, and when it goes blue, press D twice to delete it. So essentially that's how it works. Again, if I go back, press B, 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 B to add new cells, I can scroll and browse up and down using the arrow keys on my keyboard. And that's it. That's how essentially you move around in Jupyter Notebook. Now you've got another option here. You've got code and markdown. I'm not going to cover the others, but code is when you're typing in code, and markdown is when you're adding a title or a subheading, if you like, or a heading. The way markdowns work generally is you add a hash, and then you write this is a header. Okay, and then you run the cell, and that prints out as a header. Okay, now you can control the size of the font here by adding or taking away hashtags. So if you go back in here, if I add a second hashtag, it will now print as a smaller. Let's just copy this and paste this here, and you have to select markdown. Let's add a second hashtag here. That will now be a much smaller header. If I now copy this and paste this in here, change that to markdown, and now I'm going to add a third hashtag. As you can see, the size of the text is getting smaller and smaller. So if I go to cell, run all, it'll run all 3 cells at the top, and you can see the difference in the header size. And then in terms of code, obviously you're just printing out your code, so you can type whatever you want. Print hello world. If my spelling is working, you can type in this as a test. You can type in print, please subscribe. And then you just want to run this as you would with any other cell. Just run all, and that will print out your print statements. Another way to print out each cell as you go along is to shift and enter, and that will move you down 1 cell. Press shift and enter again, it'll move you down to the next cell until you can't go any further. And entering will only add and create new cells in your window. So that's how it works, guys. That's how you move around in Jupyter Notebook. Please stick around. I will be posting up our first session on Python basics for data analysts. But I hope this video is very useful for you to get started, get installed with Jupyter Notebook, because it's a very popular IDE of choice for a lot of Python coders and coders generally out there. Please like and subscribe, and do watch out for the series of Python basic videos, which I'll be publishing very shortly. Take care, guys. Peace. Bye.